Welcome to Pacific Power's Electric Mobility Grant Online Application Overview. As an applicant, this system will allow you to build and save your application online. The system will also allow you to check the status of your application and report on your project if it is selected for a grant. This training is intended to help eligible, non-residential Oregon customers log in and apply for grant funding to support qualifying transportation electrification projects. Funding awards cover up to 100% of eligible project costs. The grants are designed to support projects that advance electric transportation in underserved communities, including areas without ample access to public charging. Funding for this grant is made possible by the Oregon Clean Fuels Program administered by the State Department of Environmental Quality. This is a competitive grant. Funding is limited and not guaranteed. However, we hope you will apply and look forward to reviewing your project ideas. The grant moved to an online platform to streamline the application experience. The goal of this training is to help you easily navigate the online application and provide coaching to help you apply for the Electric Mobility Grant. Applications will be accepted through August 31st. If you have any questions, please reach out to plugin@resource-innovations.com. Let's begin by navigating to the login page to learn how to access the online application. To start, navigate to the Pacific Power Grant website, shown at the URL displayed on the screen. Scroll to the Apply for an Electric Mobility Grant section of the website. Read all tabbed information, including the grant overview, timeline, eligibility, requirements, and application tabs, to ensure you understand the grant and documentation you will need to prepare a strong application. Next, click on the Application tab. Within this tab, you can click to download the online application instructions and preview PDF versions of the application, required supplemental information, and application checklist that will be helpful for maintaining an offline draft as you collect and develop your responses. When you are ready, click the Apply Online button. After clicking the Apply Online button, you will see 3 sign-in options. Let's discuss which sign-in option you should use for your specific situation. The Sign-in Login option is for a Pacific Power customer who has an existing online Incentive Center account. Simply type your email and password and select Sign In to continue and log in. Your login will need to match with the record on the system to be granted access. The Create Account login option is for a Pacific Power customer without an existing online incentive profile. Click Create Account and follow the steps to establish your profile and login. We explore these steps more deeply in the Create New Account slide later in the presentation. The Continuous Guest login option is for a partner applying on behalf of a Pacific Power customer. Click Continuous Guest and follow the steps to apply on a Pacific Power customer's behalf. We discuss these steps on the Continuous Guest slide later in the presentation. When you arrive at the Incentive Center login screen, choose the best sign-in method for your situation based upon the previous slide, and proceed to log in by clicking Sign In, Create Account, or Continue as Guest. If you have an existing online Incentive Center account but have forgotten your password, not to worry. Simply click the Forgot Password link, type your email address, click OK, and follow the reset instructions emailed to your email account. If you don't receive the email immediately, check your spam folder. Once you reset your password, you will enter your email and updated password into the Sign In page and click Sign In. If you are a Pacific Power customer but you do not have an online Incentive Center account, select Create Account. Complete the answers to the first-time applicant questions and select Sign Up. The account will need to be validated through your email, so it is important to include a proper email address that you can receive email from. The system will email you to activate or validate the account. If you don't receive the emailed instructions immediately, check your spam folder. Alternatively, if you are a partner applying on behalf of a customer, select Continue as Guest. You will need to check the box to verify you are not a robot. You will then enter the customer's name, company name, last 4 digits of phone number, and zip code, or as a preferred method, the utility account number complete with dash and zip code. Select Search, and then pick from the drop-down menu of options the correct site address and click Continue. Please note, it is important you have the customer's permission and enter the customer's information inaccurately at this screen, including the customer account number or name tied to this account. This screen ties into where the work is performed and who you are applying on behalf of. Inaccurate entries will generate errors. Now that you have logged into the system, we will show you how to view the available grant and incentive opportunities as well as the accompanying requirements in the system. Immediately after you log in, you will be taken to the Incentive Center, where you can review offerings you are eligible to apply for. Click on the grant or offering you are interested in, and you will be taken to a new screen focused on that offering. For the purposes of this training, click on the Electric Mobility Grant option. On the next screen, review the grant requirements provided, including the links to Level 2 Qualified Charging Equipment List, technical requirements, and expense eligibility requirements to see if your project is qualified and a good fit for the grant before taking the time to apply. We will briefly touch on each of these requirements in the next few slides. From the grant landing page, click on the Level 2 Charging Equipment list and review the qualifying list of products for any projects involving the procurement of Level 2 EV charging stations. Any Level 2 charges selected for this project must be on the list to qualify for a grant. If you have any questions about the equipment or software, please reach out to us. The Level 2 Qualified Charging Equipment list contains a link to a list of required software. Since some chargers come with software, but others do not, please click on the Required Software link to review this list and see if the charger of your choice must be paired with required software in order to qualify for funding. From the grant landing page, it is also important to click to review the current technical requirements. This includes guidance specific to electric vehicle requirements, as well as requirements related to DC fast charging and Level 2 charging, ADA accessibility, minimum charger uptime, and operations and maintenance for reliability, and more. These details impact later parts of the project. For example, O&M charger contracts will be sent for review and approval after final equipment selection. For this reason, it is critical to ensure that you review and confirm your project meets the technical requirements prior to applying. Please note that by the time you see this presentation, any of these requirements may have been updated. Please ensure you click on the links within the system for the most up-to-date guidance. From the grant landing page, please spend some time reviewing the eligible and ineligible expenses by clicking on the Expense Eligibility Requirements link. This document will help you understand what expenses qualify for funding and should be included in the grant amount requested, as well as what expenses are ineligible for funding and should not be included in the grant amount requested. After reading the grant requirements, including the Level 2 charging equipment list, technical requirements, and expense eligibility requirements, if your project is eligible and you are interested, select Continue to apply. Once you select Continue to apply, you will enter the application form. Within the application form, please fill out the applicable documentation for your project. In the next slides, we will provide you with tips, advice, and a section-by-section application overview to help you understand and successfully submit your application. We would like to start the application section with a few short pieces of advice. When you apply, try to submit a fully baked project idea that is well researched and ready to implement. Press the Save button frequently, as the system does not autosave. You can start the application, save, log off, and return to the application. Remember your login credentials so you can get back into the system. To save time, easily spell and grammar check and preserve a copy of your answers. It may be helpful to type your answers into a separate Word document and then copy and paste your final answers into the online application. When doing so, remember to verify that your full text pastes into the field and does not cut off at the character limits for the field. Condense your answer if it does. Not all fields are marked as required. However, the more information you provide, the more robust your application will be. Strong projects are well prepared and ready to move forward. The more details we have up front in your application, the easier it is for us to review your responses and ensure there are fewer unknowns. With those tips in mind, we will now walk through an overview of the application section and questions. As you enter the application form, you will begin by selecting the drop-down option that identifies if you are the customer or the partner applying on behalf of the customer. This is shown in a drop-down menu below. If you are a partner, you should be logged in with a guest account. After selecting the drop-down option, Yes, I am a partner contractor applying on behalf of a customer, the partner should enter their company's information in the Partner Contractor Information section and fields. Please remember that you must have permission to submit this application on behalf of an organization you may be partnering with before proceeding. Partners, please pay attention. The next few slides are important for you. When you create your application, please copy down the following 3 pieces of information that allow you to return to your application. Write down the application number found at the top of the screen on each application, primary contact email found in the primary project contact information subsection of the customer information section, and organization zip code found in the account details subsection of the customer information section. Together, these 3 pieces of information are used to search for and return to edit or check the status of your application. This allows you the ability to improve your application over time and avoid submitting duplicates if you are unable to complete your application in one session. Steps to returning to your application are detailed in the next 3 slides. Since a partner submits an application as a guest user, a partner must search for an application when returning to enter additional information or check on an application status. To do so, the partner must proceed to the login screen. Select Continue as Guest, check the box to verify you are not a robot. Click the guest user icon at the top of the screen and select the Application Search drop-down option. After selecting Application Search from the drop-down menu, the partner will complete the details in the Search for Applications data entry fields. Each partner should have copied down the following data during their first application session and should enter this data into the corresponding entry fields. 1. Application number. This should be entered into the Type Application Number including leading zeros field. 2. Primary contact email. This should be entered into the Type Email Address on Application field. 3. Organization zip code. This should be entered into the Type Site Zip Code field. Now, click on the Check Application Status button to view the application details screen. After clicking the Check Application Status button, you will arrive at the Application Details screen. From this screen, you can view your existing application's status, or select Click to Open to view and edit the application that was saved, but not yet submitted. This allows you to enter additional information into the application. Please remember to save as you go. Alternatively, if you are a customer and not a partner, your process is a little bit different. A customer should be signed in with their email and password to access the Online Incentive Center profile and Electric Mobility Grant application. At the start of each application form, after selecting the drop-down option, No, I am the customer should proceed to enter their information in each of the application response boxes. Use the Save button to save your progress. Click the User icon at the top right corner of the application form to select the Sign Out drop-down option at the end of each session, and always sign in with your email and password at the login screen when you are ready to continue your application. Begin the process of answering one question at a time. To navigate the application, simply scroll with the scroll bar on the right-hand side. Complete the application questions by entering text and selecting checkboxes and uploading forms as specified, and use the Save button to save frequently, as the application will not autosave. Ensure that you complete all required fields. These are noted with an asterisk, at a minimum. However, please remember that the more information you provide and the more questions you answer, the more comprehensive and competitive your application will be. Please note that the examples demonstrated throughout this training are just examples. Make your answers a well-detailed representation of your specific project. Do not use rough sample text in this training as a guidance of what you will need to provide to submit a competitive application. The Customer Information section, account details auto-populate, and customers fill out the primary project contact information, or partners fill in any missing account details for the customers they are applying on behalf of. The primary project contact details are essential to complete. The primary contact is responsible for grant communications. Additionally, if awarded, the primary contact is responsible for ongoing reporting, coordination, and communication related to the project. In the Project Information section, please select the applicant type and project category that apply to your project. You can select multiple project categories, so please select all that apply to your project. If you select Other, please specify the project category you are including. Applicants will need to provide supporting details for any category you are applying for. For example, there are specific fields required for the installation of EV charging infrastructure and procurement of electric vehicle project categories that are not required of other project categories. In the Technical Requirements subsection of the Project Information section, please review and check the box to certify that your project meets the technical requirements. Please fill out the information in these fields with the details relevant to your project by selecting the drop-down menu options and populating text to answer all the questions. A few of the drop-down menu options from this section are pictured here. Choose the options that are right for your project. If you've received a grant from Pacific Power in the past, you will be prompted to provide details about the previously funded projects and any relation to the current project. Within the Customer Verification subsection of the Project Information section, you are required to upload copies of the applicant's recent electric bill. Please note that for partners, the electric bill should be from the customer you are applying on behalf of. You are also able to upload letters of support. If you are a partner supporting an organization with their application, it is particularly important to include a letter of support from the organization that will receive the grant acknowledging their support for the project. Additionally, if you are installing charging infrastructure, a letter of support from the building owner or landlord confirming they are aware of and support the charger's installation is very helpful to include. Letters of support can also come from partners, community leaders, or other parties in favor of the project. To upload, start by clicking the folder icon. Detailed instructions to upload files are provided on the next slide. Let's take a moment to learn how to upload files into the system. To upload a file into the system, click on the folder icon. Search your PC, click on the file you wish to upload, ensure it is the right file type shown in parentheses in the Request for Data, select the Open button, and the file will load into the system. Click the Save icon at the top right of the application form to save your work. When successful, the file name will show up below the folder icon for that question. Great job uploading your file. We will now return to the general application overview. Next, you will complete questions related to the Electric Mobility Grant project financials. This is a critical section, so we will spend some time going into detail on it. These questions itemize the financial details of the project and are required for any project type. Please be as well-researched, accurate, and specific to your site and project as possible when entering in all costs. This will help to ensure that if you are awarded the grant, you will have requested sufficient funds to complete your project. The questions you will need to complete within this section include total project costs, which should reflect the total dollar amount required to complete the project regardless of funding source. Total grant funding requested should reflect the amount of funding you are requesting for the project from the Pacific Power Electric Mobility Grant. Funding award payment. The drop-down options for the funding award payment include a 75% upfront and up to 25% post-completion payment, or an up to 100% reimbursement post-completion payment. Please note, the up to amount paid for each project is always based upon and cannot exceed actual project costs, regardless of award amount. Next, you must complete an itemized cost spreadsheet, along with estimates, bids, and equipment specifications to back up and support your cost estimates. Within this section, it is also helpful to include documentation such as a quote for the vehicle of your choice from a local dealer, a product specification sheet on the charger you selected. These can typically be obtained from the manufacturer's website. A quote showing the cost of the charger and any related shipping. O&M contract costs or ongoing fees and software charges from your charging vendor. a quote from an electrician showing installation cost estimates, permit cost estimates, and more. Any supporting documentation that you provide will help supplement and strengthen the cost estimates you provide in the itemized cost spreadsheet. All such documents can be uploaded and included in the itemized costs section. Additionally, please note that Pacific Power offers free technical assessments through their charging station and fleet planning technical assistance program. If you are interested in installing EV chargers or transitioning your fleet to EVs, we highly recommend that you apply for technical assistance to evaluate your options and costs with this free on-site feasibility analysis and customized advising specific to your installation. If you utilize this free technical assistance and have a technical assessment completed for your site, please upload a copy of your technical assessment report to the itemized cost section of your application. In the next questions, please indicate if the e-mobility grant will be the only project funding source. Then, upload documentation of secured funding if applicable. If you are providing matching funds from an external grant, we would like to see documentation that you have secured this money. This could be a grant award letter, confirmation, or communication showing you have been awarded additional funding for the project from an outside source. If your organization is providing funding internally, you don't need to submit anything in this section. Click the Save icon at the top right-hand corner of the application to save all of these key financial details before moving on to the next section. If your project involves the procurement of an electric vehicle, complete the EV procurement section. Please note, this section will not be visible if EV procurement is not one of the project categories you selected earlier in the application form. If you are hoping to procure an EV, complete the Vehicle Location fields showing where the vehicle will be primarily stationed and charged, as well as the Vehicle Information fields describing the vehicle make, model, year, quantity, primary charging type, and more. It is best to have the specific vehicle selected by the time you are applying for the project. Populate the text boxes and drop-down options to enter all information accurately. Select the expected purchase or lease date from the calendar using the arrows to reach the correct month and year, as well as clicking on the number reflective of the date. This information should be as specific as possible to help us evaluate your vehicle selections and should align with supporting dealer quotes and bids that you attached with your itemized costs. This slide shows a more detailed look at some of the drop-down options related to the EV procurement section, such as specifying if a vehicle will be purchased or leased, if a vehicle will be used in a public or private fleet, and if there is any current vehicle charging infrastructure on site. Select the drop-down options that are right for your project. If your project involves the electric vehicle supply equipment EVSE charger installation, you must complete the EVSE installation section. Please note that this section will not be visible if chargers are not part of your project. Please complete the Installation Location field to show where the chargers will be installed. The Charger Type fields, describing the speed of the charger, quantity of the Level 2 and DC fast ports, charger brand manufacturer, and more. The Usage and Access fields, describing the reason for the technology choice, project type, estimated annual kilowatt-hour usage, fees for charger use, and more. Upload a picture of the location to help the reviewers evaluate the site and surrounding area picked for the chargers. This information should be specific and help us evaluate your charger selections. The information should align with the supporting costs and equipment specifications you attached in the Itemized Costs section. It is best to have a specific charger selected by the time you are applying for the project and ensure it is on the Level 2 Qualified Charging Equipment list and/or aligns with the technical requirements documents reviewed earlier in the application form. This screen shows a more detailed look at some of the drop-down menu options related to the EVSE installation section, such as the location of the installation, charger type, public access to the charger, if the project team has been in contact with Pacific Power's estimators, and more. Please try to complete all these drop-down selections accurately. If your project involves EVSE charger installation, complete the EVSE project budget fields. Please make sure you've read through the technical requirements and factor them into your budget. For example, if you have a 3-year operations and maintenance contract for your equipment, please enter that amount in the Other EVSE Installation Components field and name it in the Other EVSE Installation and Components description. It is very helpful to ensure that you have an O&M contract as part of your overall budget. Up to 3 years of O&M will be covered by Pacific Power. However, it will be up to program participants to ensure that they maintain the required minimum uptime of 97% for charging ports. To do so, it is helpful to select suppliers who offer warranties, provide 24/7 phone support, and have established field repair and site inspection programs, and a budget for ongoing O&M costs and network fees. Including provisions to meet the technical requirements in your budget will help the application look well prepared and ready to implement. This information should be as specific as possible to help us evaluate your charger selections and should align with supporting charging vendor quotes that you attached with your itemized costs. Projects involving infrastructure changes require permits and approvals. Talk to your electrician, installer, and/or local jurisdiction's building permit department, city council, board, and/or property owners to understand the permits, costs, and approvals involved. After collecting this information, use the drop-down menus and text entry to populate the permits and design fields. It is important to obtain land and building ownership as well as landlord consent before making changes to a building's infrastructure. Start discussing the project and obtaining any approvals needed early in the application process for the best chances of success. This screen shows a more detailed look at some of the drop-down menu options related to the Permits and Design section, such as the electrical, mechanical, and structural permits, as well as the City Council and Board approvals required. Please consider and try to complete all of these drop-down selections accurately. Complete the project feasibility data entry and attachment uploads. To do so, you must describe the project scope, summarize the project development timeline, upload the project development timeline, summarize the structure of the project team, upload the team's credentials. Please be as specific and accurate as possible. This section gives us a sense of the key project milestones in your timeline to ensure they are in line with the overall grant timeline. The credentials and summary of the structure of the project team help us understand who will be performing each of the key coordination steps and roles to implement the project in a successful and timely fashion. Within the project feasibility section, there is a small but critical field called Project Scope. Use this section to accurately describe the scope of your project and elaborate on any key details that may not have been captured in other places. For example, if you have multiple addresses for the charger installations, list the specific addresses you would like to install each of the chargers at in the Project Scope section. If you are procuring multiple vehicles, makes, and models, list each here. If your project will serve a specific service area or route, describe it here. If there wasn't a relevant field for something you needed to share, include it in this answer. This is the field where you tell us what you are going to do and where you are going to go with your project. If there is anything you can't populate elsewhere in the application, the Project Scope Write-Up field is the place to put it. Complete the next fields in the Education, Environment, Equity and Community section to help us understand your organization and the project in terms of its impacts and elements related to project expectations, outcomes and goals, benefits for underserved communities, economic, environmental, and social benefits, community, education, and awareness components related to electric mobility, recognition of the Electric Mobility Grant and Oregon Clean Fuels Program, and willingness to participate in peer roundtable discussions. The answers to these questions distinguish your project and help us understand the overall impact your project will have in these areas. It also helps us understand how your project aligns with many of the broader goals of the grant. The next section presents terms and conditions. If you are a partner, you will confirm that you as a partner clicked on the link and reviewed the terms and conditions by selecting Yes from the drop-down menu. Type your name as the partner, and in doing so, provide your electronic signature. Check the box to acknowledge your electronic signature. Click to download the terms and conditions, then upload a copy of the terms and conditions reviewed and signed by the signing authority for the customer you are applying on behalf of in the Upload the Signed Customer TNC field. Partners, please note that it is very important that the customer you are applying on behalf of understands the application, terms, conditions, and requirements involved with the grant. Within the Terms and Conditions section, ensure the customer you're applying on behalf of has reviewed and, within the Customer Approval section, signed to agree to the terms and conditions. Ensure the customer reviewed, understands, and approves of all the details within the application scope and budget prior to submitting the application. In the Terms and Conditions section, if you are a customer, you will confirm you reviewed the terms and conditions by selecting Yes from the drop-down menu. Type your name as the electronic signature. Check the box to acknowledge your signature. When all your application answers are final and you are ready to submit your application, click the Save and View Cart button. This will take you to the online shopping cart. Check the box within the Electric Mobility Grant section to confirm you want to submit the application. Click the Submit Application button, and a Submission Complete message will appear along with the application number you can document for reference. Congratulations! By following the steps in this tutorial, you successfully submitted your online application. But what happens next? If you completed and submitted your application by the Online Applications Due Date, shown in the Timeline tab of the grant website, then you successfully applied for this round of grant funding in time. Once your application is submitted, a team of reviewers will evaluate your application as well as any other applications that have been submitted. When the application evaluations are complete and the final list of projects are approved for funding, we will reach out to you to let you know if your project was awarded any grant funding by the selection and notification date listed on the Timeline tab of the grant website. Thank you for joining this training. Our time is up, but you can reach out to plugin@resource-innovations.com If you have any questions or concerns, wish to offer feedback, or need additional assistance with your application, we look forward to reviewing your application and hope you have a great day.